Right, first of all I'd like to thank you very much indeed for taking the time to just view this short tutorial. Now, very often I receive emails and screenshots from other traders wanting some advice regarding particular trades, and I am always amazed as to see just how much information they have got on their charts. They have so many indicators on those charts. I really am surprised that they can actually identify particular trades. Trading is all about keeping it simple. The simpler your strategy, the easier it is to trade and the more successful you will be. And this particular system I'm going to show you is one that I use continually, and I am extremely successful with this particular strategy that I use. It is literally keeping it simple. All I do at the beginning of each day is I analyse the market. In this particular market we're looking at the euro, and I draw particular trend lines. And you have to look at the trend lines, and this is where it is key. This is the key to this particular strategy, getting the correct trend lines. Now if I zoom out, you can see that I've placed 1, 2, 3 main outer trend lines. Once they're placed, I then zoom in to the 1 hour chart, and we're looking at the 1 hour chart, and then what I do is I draw in the daily, what I call my daily inner trend line, and this is the trend line that I will follow for the rest of the day. Anything below this trend line and I will be looking to trade short, anything above this trend line and I will be looking to trade long. It is as simple as that, and that is the key to this particular strategy. So once I've identified this particular trend line, I then move into the 5-minute chart and I place this trend line on the 5-minute chart. So here you can clearly see the red line is now drawn on the 5-minute chart. Below this we will look to trade south, we will look to go short. Above that trend line we will look to go long. So I'm now looking for counter or trend line breaks. Simple as this, folks. So here's my first trend line break. Just let's zoom into this. Here we have the trend line break. So this is the trend line. We're moving up towards this trend line, which is our trading days trend line, okay, that we've seen on the 1 hour. Here you can see that we have that trend line break, a full body candle below this particular trend line, a full body candle below the trend line, and your signal to buy is in the open of the next candle. So I would have looked to buy at this open. So there's my open of the next candle. Now when you've seen that, all you need to do is look to place your stop above the high. That's where you're placing your stop, okay? Now very often what will happen is the actual move through this particular trend line, you will see a move through the trend line, and very often you will see a retracement to an area of past support or resistance. In this particular case I'll show you in 1 second where that is, or we will see a move to the back of the trend line before we see the move down, okay? So in this particular occasion, let's have a look. We had support, previous resistance here is now proving to give us resistance in these areas as well. So here we have a resistance area, again resistance and resistance. So you're looking for points of resistance or points of support. Now this is where I took this particular trade, okay? Now what we're doing here is we're actually, if we look at our equity management, we are risking 23 pips and a potential 55 pips. But what you can do, placing your Fibonacci's once you have this small retracement, look where we came to. We came to a 50% retracement here, so there's a 50% retracement, and therefore I'm looking for a take profit around about midway between the 1.27 and the 1.618, okay? This is where I take profit. So I looked here, I entered at this point around about the 50. When I saw that this was a potential area for a bounce, I took a risk of 22 pips for a gain of 42 pips. Very successful trade. Okay, so that was that particular trade. Remember, we are still below this red trading line. Okay, so This now was my second trend line. We've taken the drop and we've now started to retrace, drawing this particular trend line, and I'm now waiting for the break of this trend line. So let's zoom into this one. What we get, you can clearly see, we get a break of the trend line, and then we get the test to the back of the trend line before we see the fall. This is all I'm looking for, okay? It's all you're looking for, folks. Now then, here we go. If we take a look, we get our full-bodied bear candle signal that we've broken the trend line, and we're now taking a move further south. So once we've seen this particular move, this is the move right here, we then can draw in our Fibonacci's. Drawing your Fibonacci's, we had a classic 61.8 retrace. This was your retrace to the 61.8, a classic, and to the back of the trend line. This is your signal to enter. Remember, my take profit is mid 50, 1.618, 1.27. So we had a risk factor right here of around about 27 pips with a profit of 76 pips. Okay, another superb trade. Very, very simple, nothing complicated. Let's take a look at this particular trade right here. We had the trend line in, and we had a break of the trend line with a full bodied candle below the trend line. This is your full bodied trade below the candle, below the trend line. So what I'm now waiting for is I'm waiting for the break, and I'm waiting for the retrace before we take that trade. That didn't happen, so I didn't take that trade. That's it, folks. It is as simple as that. It is a very simple trading strategy. What you need to do is you need to be aware of past support and resistance and trend line breaks. Keep it simple and you will succeed as a trader. Thank you very much indeed.